In this section of the course, we'll be covering automation and orchestration. Automation refers to the process of automatically executing tasks without manual intervention, typically achieved using specialized software or scripts. Now, it allows for repetitive tasks to be performed consistently and efficiently while reducing the chances of human error and freeing up time for more complex tasks. On the other hand, orchestration is the coordinated and sequenced execution of multiple automated tasks to achieve a specific outcome or workflow. Now, this involves an organization directing various automated processes to work together harmoniously while ensuring that tasks are executed in the right order and that dependencies between them are managed appropriately. Basically, automation focuses on making individual tasks autonomous, while orchestration looks at the bigger picture to ensure that all automated tasks come together seamlessly to achieve a broader goal. In recent years, the use of SOAR has become very popular. Now, when I talk about SOAR, I'm not talking about soaring like a bird. I'm talking about the SOAR for the acronym Security, Orchestration, Automation, and Response, which is a class of security tools that help facilitate incident response, threat hunting, and security configurations by orchestrating and automating runbooks and delivering data enrichment. Basically, think of this as a SIEM version 2.0. Now, when you're dealing with SOAR is primarily used for incident response, but there's a large part of it used for threat hunting as well. But really, the number one place you're going to see SOAR used is incident response because you can automate so many of your actions. Now, as I said, I like to think about it as SIEM 2.0. Essentially, it's a next generation SIEM since it takes security information and event monitoring systems and integrates it into SOAR. And when you put those two together, it really does become your next generation SIEM, just like when you deal with the next generation firewall. They took it from dealing with layer 3 and layer 4 and brought it all the way up to 7 layers. It made it just so much better and so much more capable. Well, the same thing is happening here when you integrate SOAR with your SIEM. You basically get an awesome product. It's going to give you the ability to scan security and threat data to be able to identify different things. You can then analyze it using machine learning, and then you can also automate the process of doing data enrichment to make sure that data inside SIEM is even more powerful for your analysts to use. And you can do instant response so you can provision new resources. That means you can create new accounts, you can create new VMs, and if you're using VDI, you can actually delete someone's infected box and then create a new virtual machine for them to use. And all of this can be done using automated playbooks if you want to use this SOAR capability. Now, when we talk about this, I just mentioned the word playbook. What exactly is that? Well, a playbook is essentially a checklist of actions that you're going to perform to detect and respond to a specific type of incident. So if you said, hey, look, I have an alert that says there's some phishing campaign and someone clicked on a link on this machine. Well, we're going to do steps 1 through 10, and then we're going to re-image the machine and we're going to give them a new computer. That might be your steps. So, for example, if you have somebody who clicked on a link in a phishing campaign, you might have steps 1 through 5, which says go to the machine, isolate it from the network, do a virus scan to make sure they haven't infected themselves or anyone else, check the registry to make sure there's nothing in there for persistence, and then back up all the user data. Refill them with a new computer, and then reinstall the image and put the data back on it. This is just an example of some of the actions that you might do. Now, these could be manual or automated, but in the case of a playbook, you're usually just talking about the steps that are involved. Now, if I can automate a lot of that, that has become a runbook. Now, a runbook is an automated version of a playbook, and it leaves clearly defined interaction points for human analysis. For example, my SOAR might say, if someone clicks the link in a phishing email, do these steps 1 through 5. When you get to step 2, pause, send it to an analyst who will then say, re-image the machine or don't re-image the machine. These are the ways that we can use these things, and they all work together to create a better environment and to help reduce the workload of our analysts because, again, we only have so many cybersecurity professionals, and if we have them all wasting their time on very minor things that could be automated, that's not very helpful to us. So instead, we want to make sure that we automate what we can, and SOAR allows us to do a lot of that automation. So in this section of the course, we're going to just focus on automation and orchestration by singularly focusing on domain 4 and objective 4.7. Objective 4.7 states that you must be able to explain the importance of automation and orchestration related to secure operations. First, we will discuss when to automate and when to orchestrate. Here, we will learn to consider the complexity, cost, amount of single points of failures involved, and technical debt, the ongoing supportability, whether the thing that you're considering is a repeatable process that doesn't frequently change, and things like that when determining if we should automate or orchestrate a particular process in our organization. Next, we will look at the benefits of automation and orchestration. Some of these benefits include things like becoming more efficient and saving time by enforcing baselines, standardizing your infrastructure configuration, scaling in a more secure manner, better employee retention, faster reaction times, and using automation and orchestration as a workforce multiplier. Then we will discuss how you can automate support tickets. This can be done to create the tickets, perform minor actions on the tickets, and to escalate the tickets when required. After that, we will look at automating your organization's onboarding process. Whenever you hire a new employee, there are several functions that need to be performed, including provisioning the user's account, provisioning new resources for the user, and numerous processes, and most of these things can be automated or orchestrated within your organization. Next, we'll explore how you can automate security in your organization. For example, you can set up guardrails, security groups, enable or disable services and access, then also modify the user's permissions, all by using automation and orchestration techniques. Then we will review methods to automate your applications development within your organization. Here, we'll be focused on the continuous integration and continuous deployment process known as CI/CD. After that, we will look at different integrations and APIs that we can use to automate workflows across multiple systems and even across numerous software as a service products. And finally, we will take a short quiz to see what you learned during this section of the course and review each one of those quiz questions to fully ensure that you can explain why each answer was right. So let's dive into the world of automation and orchestration in this section of the course.